What's going on, man?
How are you?
Oh man, I'm doing great. Yeah, I got us all set up in here.
Hey, I was just gonna say hey before y'all get started.
That's okay.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. All right,
Yeah.
y'all.
All right. All right. So tonight on the show we have Joe Slade with us. He's a local resident, not too far away from here. So
Right.
I'm gonna kind of give you the floor a little bit, Joe, and let's just let's get in the garage and get down to the nitty gritty.
All right.
And just kind of introduce yourself, man. Just tell me, who you are, where you're from, that sort of thing.
I grew up here in Mississippi and actually grew up in Greenville. I moved to Jackson right after college and did some work. I'm in retail, so did some work with a company here in Jackson for about 6 months. Moved back to Greenville.
Okay.
Moved back to Jackson. And then
Ping pong.
Yeah. So between Greenville and Jackson, most of my time with work is carried between those two cities, and I've been back in the Jackson metro reservoir area for a little over 20 years back now. So this is absolutely home, and would not dare to consider moving back to the Delta.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I actually interviewed for a job in Rosedale, so it's not too far from Greenville.
I'm glad you didn't take it.
Oh my gosh, man! When I tell you there's nothing, there is nothing there. We drove through and we went through. Where is the Fighting Okra? Who are they?
I actually went to Delta State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Cleveland is actually Cleveland's still a pretty nice Delta town.
Right.
If I ever had to move back to the Delta, it would be Cleveland.
Right.
Or I would move to Arkansas over to Lake Village. I would consider that, but not really anywhere else. Cleveland's actually still operated well, and I think that's just really because of the college being there. It's almost like a necessity.
That's right.
That's for it to be. So.
Well, and they have to have a better economic structure because of the college and stuff.
Yeah. So I think there's contributors and whatnot to help kind of keep all that stuff going and everything. So it's a nice little town.
Okay. Yeah, we went that way when we were going to Rosedale, and they had a Piggly Wiggly was the only thing in Rosedale.
That's right.
And we actually got food poisoning. We ate there at the little deli. Man, it was sketchy. I'm telling you, man, It was crazy.
It is sketchy up through there, and it's only gotten worse over the last 20 years of people moving away.
Yeah.
Just because of the lack of job opportunities, So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was one of the big things, man. Us having kids and stuff, we were just kind of looking at it, and that's a huge word. When you're mid-30s, opportunity. Are there jobs? Is there a structure that'll support me and a family?
Well, you would have spent probably with your children going to either daycare or private school. You would have spent $12,000-$15,000 a year. So wherever you were offered to be making, a good chunk of that would have been pushed to the private school system. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we would have been spared from that because we homeschool. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the reasons that we made a permanent move from Greenville because we wanted Dalton, our son. He's in college now, but we actually wanted him to go to public school and live life like life is lived, after school is done.
That's right.
Because you can't grow up in a sheltered, one-sided environment. You got to be, socialized to where knowledgeable that, how life works.
That's exactly right. And we spend a ton of time with our kids. We teach them. They have a core curriculum through Monarch. It's all online, and then we teach them actual life skills, finance, and all
they
that
don't
kind
teach
of
that.
stuff.
I don't think they teach that in
Exactly.
public schools anymore.
Man, I mean, we sit with our kids sometimes and we talk about taxes.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, look, if you make this amount of money, they're gonna take this percentage, and different things. It's important for kids.
I made my son fill out a job application when he was 15. Went and got him a checking account, savings account. He still got it to this day. He's probably got more in savings probably than I do. I don't know. You know, it's close, but he saves. So
That's
you got to.
That's right, man.
He's good too. I've never had any problems out of him. It's pretty amazing in comparison to the way what I gave my mom.
Right.
He didn't give us anything like what I gave my mom and dad. So.
Well, we've been fortunate too, man. Our kids give us a little bit of heck, but it's nothing like, you know, what we hear from some parents.
Right.
Man. So we've been fortunate and blessed there. So I know you alluded to the fact that you work retail. I know a lot of people in, you know, the truck and car scene. We do a lot of side hustle stuff. You do anything on the side?
I do not do anything on the side. I scramble and run as fast as I can to get my real job done, and it's a full responsibility. I'm responsible for 23 stores in 6 states, 5 states.
Wow.
Yeah, 5 states.
Wow, that's crazy, man. That's a pretty vast expanse of.
Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. So. And
Wow.
something somewhere, Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, East Texas. So
Nice. You ever mix work and pleasure? Get out to some truck shows and stuff while you're doing work?
I've got friends everywhere, and so I do try to catch up with some of my friends from time to time. In fact, I was in the Prattville, Opelika, Alabama area this week, and I went and caught up with an old club member. We've known each other for, I don't know now, 25, 30 years, Sean Burnley.
Wow.
And so yeah, we went and ate dinner Tuesday night, myself and his wife. So, you know, I'll catch up with people, you know, that I know where they live, and go eat dinner with them or such. But just I don't have to go eat, you know. But I wanted to catch up with Sean and everything. So I actually had just seen him Saturday down at Orange Beach and Bays and everything. But you can never get too much because there was a span of time there where it was years that we had not seen each other. So.
Right. Right. Well, that's awesome, man. So, I mean, other than the SEMA, you know, build that everybody knows you and loves you for, man, what all do you drive? So tell us about this, and then I know you got other projects and stuff that you're working on, so let's spend a little time on that.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to unfold. So this is a family truck, and in fact, I've already titled this truck in my son Dalton's name. This was his great grandfather's truck.
Okay.
You know, so his grandfather drove this truck after his great grandfather passed away in '73. Drove that truck from '73 to '89, and then I actually drove it for about 3, 4, 5, 6 months. You know, back in the early '90s when my truck broke down, and actually I was the last person that drove it, and it broke down on me right outside of Indianola, Mississippi.
Oh man.
Yeah, and so I was actually the last person who drove it, and anyway, so we knew that Dalton had scholarship money. We'd already paid for Impact College money. I had been saving money for, you know, and so when I knew he was secure and college was in the clear.
Good to go.
Dude, he was 17 years old. He signed that scholarship. I said, let's build this truck.
Nice.
go before something changes.
That's right, man.
And,
Well, you got the egg, use it.
That's right. So I helped judge at a big show here in the southeast, and I ran into. I'd already heard and contacted Chris Stafford's Garage, and so we just kind of ping pong back and forth, and we missed each other, and I took it to someone who did absolutely zero, and so I had to go pull the project from that person because they did nothing. And but everything works out for a reason, right?
That's right.
I really do believe that sometimes, and so anyway, I judged a truck that Chris Stafford brought through that had already been to SEMA, front cover of Street Truck Magazine. So not only was I judging it for the show, but I was judging it for myself.
Right.
And
to see the quality of work and stuff.
Oh yeah, and super impressed. I knew of other projects that he had done that was on the road, and so I got connected with him, called him up. We talked about the budget. We talked about what I wanted. talk about me wanting to drive the truck. I drive it everywhere. It's got 9,300 miles on it since SEMA.
Wow.
Since we
How
finished.
much of that was actually the drive there and back? 'Cause I know you drove
So 9,300 miles. So round and back is about 3,600 miles.
Wow.
So 3,600 on that trip, and then the rest of it's been to Houston twice, Orange Beach twice. Went to show up in. I've been to Baton Rouge several times.
Right.
Went to a show north of Birmingham.
You went to LSD just a while back.
Yeah. I've been to LST twice.
Right.
In it. So Slidell, Bio Showdown. So anyway, it goes, and it's got 9,300 miles, and I'll put it this way, I put more miles on that truck last year than the Expedition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, than the personal daily Expedition.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy, especially having the responsibility that you do with work and stuff, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
It's a lot of miles.
So now I'm in the middle of I'm LS swapping a ramp truck. I wanted a ramp truck forever, long before Burley Woods or whatever. And so I finally found the right project. I really wanted something that was running and driving, but I didn't want something like super nice because I knew I wanted to LS swap it.
Right.
And so I just wanted it running and driving so I could get it to where I wanted to get it to.
Right.
Rather than having to pay whatever $2,000 to have it all there.
Courier.
Yeah, because it would take something big. It would have cost a lot of money to get it there. But so anyway, I'm LS swapping that now. Should be done there with a few weeks. The name of that is Flatjack. So we're gonna put Burley Woods on the back of Flatjack, and to go to shows. And not that I don't want to drive Burley Woods, because once we get wherever we're headed to, then we'll probably pull Burley Woods. But I also have my original Mazda from when I was 16. My mom and dad bought the truck for me when I was 16. I've got that back. It was gone I sold it to put a down payment on the house when we learned about our son coming. It was gone for a little over 18 years. I found it right up here in Madison County. It had been here the whole time, and it's a little rough. So I'm going to be part of it. I've got a parts truck I'm going to break down and get the frame and such ready. And then Stafford will be involved with part of it as well. So it's gonna be, I'm gonna do some, and then he's gonna commission out some of it himself too. And so that's why we're gonna work that. And so mechanically I'm good. Body work, paint, no, I'm not so good. I can't weld, so stuff like that. So we got Burley Woods, we got Flatjack, we got Twice Bitten, which is the Mazda.
Nice.
I've got a little 92 Honda Civic. It's like the one we had back in college. It's running, driving, air conditioning, everything super nice. It's all stock, but it's a fun little car. And then I've got my uncle bought he's got a 67 Camaro. He bought brand new. He passed away back in the late 99s. I believe it was my dad passed away in 97, so 98. And so the car sat with my aunt until 2005, and then then I called her. I would call and check on her about 2 or 3, 4 times a year. And like when I went to Greenville, we used to we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I was there, and I just called to check on her, and she said, "Do you still want this old Camaro?" And I said, "I'll be right there."
Wow.
And so anyway, we did our thing with that, and it's a running driving 67 Camaro convertible, so I'm the second owner of that. When I got it, it had 28,000 miles, and now it's got 38,000 miles, all original. I'm gonna keep it that way. So just a fun car to go. So anyway, Flatjack is gonna either haul Burley Woods and then my Mazda on a trailer behind it, or Burley Woods and the Camaro on a trailer behind it, or Burley Woods and the Honda behind it. It's gonna have something, but I'm gonna have the capacity to haul two.
Something in the entourage.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. Like that's just crazy, man.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in the scene?
I got my truck when I was 16, and I started. It had no air conditioning, steel wheels. It didn't have good carpet. It had that flat carpet, no air conditioning, no radio, no bumpers, no anything. And so that's what my mom and dad bought me.
Right.
It's like, and I just started there. So I guess that's when you could say that's when I was in the scene. So that would have been 87, 88,
Wow.
87, 88, and so.
You want to know something? Jim?
Yeah.
It was 87. I was 3 years old.
I know, right? And I was already doing it, man.
Dude, so when we say OG, man, you were the guys that we're talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to us, to me,
Yeah.
you know, you are the OG.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in the most respectful way
No,
possible.
I know. No, I take it as respectful. And the thing about it is, there's a lot of us that are still doing it and everything. And you know, I could expand upon that just a little bit, but you know, it's I don't know, it's been fun, but you know, there's not a time in my life that I can't remember not liking vehicles.
Right.
I mean, I can't ever. I mean, I can remember being 3, 4, 5 years old and playing with cars in the dirt, and,
Right.
and stealing the paint can out of the cabinet and painting them, and you know, and tearing them up and taking them apart and trying to put another body on. I would like the wheels off of one, so I'd break the rivets and try to put my body on the other one because I like the wheels better, and you know.
Man, I used to go all the time. We would go to like K&B. Dude, now that was a long time ago. And they had a model section.
Oh, absolutely.
The plastic models, man. And I would do much the same thing. I would take the wheels off of one and put them with another, or take, you know, the decals or whatever, because I was really little back then. You know, I had just sticker ones.
Yeah.
And they didn't really come out with the snap ones like Nate has till way after I was even a kid.
Yeah, you had to glue all that stuff.
That's right, man. You had the little
cement
and epoxy.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be chewing epoxy off your fingers.
It'd be all over us, man, and we would just be loving it.
Yeah, did that. So I can't remember a time where I didn't have some. I mean, I've always just loved vehicles, and I keep up with new stuff that comes out. I know I can spot stuff down the road, even at night behind me. I'm like, I know what that is.
By the headlights.
Right. You know, it's like, you know, people are like, oh, how do you know that? It's like, I just keep up with it, you know.
Right.
And just always have, and I don't know, just love it. So, and that's just the way I am.
Right.
It's built in my DNA.
That's awesome, man.
Oh, I call it my Walmart truck. So it cranks. It's a 77 square body, long wheelbase. It's a one owner.
Okay.
And so the transmission's out. So I'm going to lower it. That's I'm going to get the flat jack going. But I'm going to call it my Walmart truck.
Okay.
That's going to be my Walmart truck. So it's going to run. So
grocery getter.
Yeah. So I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to put wheels and lower it, and all the other imperfections are just going to stay right where they are. It's got an old man camper top on it.
So you want to put a gentleman's bet that isn't all that happens to it?
Somebody wants to buy it, they can buy it before I mess with it. It's a 77 long wheelbase one owner, and the motor runs great, 350. Anyway, so now I'm just gonna mess with them and call it my Walmart truck. So.
Yeah, man, that's cool. See, I have some plans for things down the road. You know, some things that I want to do, even to the motivator, and then, you know, maybe plans for a mini. You know, I've reached out to a couple of guys, man, that were really influential to me in the beginning. There's an old truck club, and I'm not going to tell anybody who it was, but they're not around anymore. So I asked if I could use the logo just to put on the truck to make it era, you know.
Oh, correct. Yeah, I got you.
So yeah, and man, I got the go ahead. So I'm kind of excited. You know what I mean? So that'll be coming down the pipeline.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, pretty soon.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. So you alluded to it earlier. One of the questions is, what was your first custom vehicle? So that was the Mazda?
Yeah, that was the Mazda, and it was featured in 94 Mini Trucking magazine. So
nice. Yeah,
featured in 94 Mini Trucking. We were at so my club, maybe getting ahead of you a little bit, but anyway, my club, we went to shows. We went to shows all over the Southeast. We went to shows, and so we supported shows, went to shows. There'd be, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of us in line on the interstate, and we would tighten up our bumpers about, you know, a foot off. Nobody could get between us, and we would kick it, man. It was so much fun until Robert Beard would like start falling asleep at the wheel and start like slowing way down, and then I would have to beep at him and tell him to get back going again. You know,
put him at the front.
That was the problem. We did. It was like, man, we were going 40 down the interstate. We're gonna get killed. At night in the fog, you know.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I was, like I said earlier, I grew up on the coast, and I went to the Albertville High School, grew up in Biloxi. Those are my stomping grounds everywhere, pretty much from Pascagoula, Mobile, all the way over to Bay St. Louis, New Orleans, you know, anywhere on the Gulf Coast. My mom would call, and the first thing she'd say is, "Are you in Mississippi?" I mean, because we would be everywhere, man. We used to go down to Spring Fling, you know, when that was going on in Panama City. We'd go to shows in Texas, you know, and we went to Greenville quite a few times.
Yeah.
You know, and you said Lake Village earlier. We stayed in Lake Village at there's a little set of apartments right outside. I mean, right
on the right hand side.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
And we would stay there. We would rent the little
cottages.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And we used to eat at the big steakhouse right there.
I think it's gone now, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go through there. That was, oh my God, it had been there forever. I can't believe it.
Cowboys?
Cowpen.
Yeah, Cowpen. That's right.
Yeah,
That's
that
exactly
was
right.
the place to be able to go when I was younger, and it just, you know, like it all over in the Delta, it just kind of went downhill. So,
Yeah. So, one of my favorite questions to ask everybody, man, is what's your favorite part of what we do?
It's absolutely the people and the friends and being associated with other people that are like-minded with that and everything. So the people part of it. And I mean, I've got friends that lifelong, like friends that I know for a fact that if I need them, that I know for a fact, and I met them through trucks.
Right.
I met them through trucks, and they can depend on me too.
Right.
They can depend on me too, and so it's the people, and I've got lifelong friends that some of my best friends are met through trucks.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the best word to sum it up is respect and loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, a lot of people, when they say those two words, they're like, well, a lot of people don't understand what it is anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, that's one of the things when you find somebody that's, I'm not talking about a fly-by-night or a hit-and-miss person. I mean the real people who do this for the passion of it and that sort of thing. Man, I've seen people grab parts, throw them in a truck, and drive 3 or 4 hours just to help somebody who was
They had
stranded.
to do that for Burley Woods to go to SEMA because the motor spun bearings 2 days before we were supposed to leave.
Right.
Yeah, and so those guys who did that, you know, I didn't know them before, but I know them now, and they're good friends. I mean, I consider them a good friend, not because they did that, because they're just good people.
Right.
You know, and I saw them at LST and hung out with them for a little while, and you know, and so there's some really good people out there.
That's right, man. And that's one of my favorite parts as well. I always say, you know, when I go anywhere, I see people like, you know, social media is a big deal now.
Yeah.
And, you know, it has been for quite a number of years.
Yeah.
And you start talking to somebody in a chat group or something like that, or, you know, you join one of these groups like the Bag Board or something like that, and then, you know, you see these people in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, hey, I know you. And then you're like, don't you drive that black bag, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, you know, and then you strike it up, and it literally is like you've known people your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, people don't get that kind of camaraderie and stuff even from things like the Boy Scouts. And no offense to them, I'm just saying, you know, it's a time in your life, you know, because eventually you're not a boy anymore. You become a man and you move on, you do other things, but you know, vehicles are timeless, and I've said that probably on every show. But you know, you go back to horse and buggy, and then you know, you move on Model A's and different things, and then they get bigger and faster and more technologically advanced. Yeah. But it's still one of those things we want to push the limits. We want to say, I'm going to buy one of these, and I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this. And I mean, even people who disagree, it's still, you know, that's a badass truck. And we can agree on that. Everybody can, you know what I mean? And then, so that gives us an even kilter and an even playing field when it comes to that sort of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it's awesome.
I mean, even people that aren't, quote, into it, they still, I mean, when they see a finished vehicle,
that's right.
They still recognize the cool factor regardless.
That's right.
You know, regardless if they would own it or drive it or
That's
whatever else, they still recognize. I mean, just driving it over here to your place tonight. I mean, I was leaving my neighborhood and some people were, you know, cutting the yard and whatever, and there was, you know, yard teams or crews, you know, paid yard
Right.
crews, whatever, and they would like stop. They stopped their work for a few minutes, you know, and
That's right.
you know, and then I was, you know, driving down the road and down there call somebody to have a wreck. I thought they were going to run over somebody because they were looking backwards and.
I know, man.
You know.
So I texted you and told you to turn around. And I don't know if you noticed it, but the people pulled past you in the road and stopped.
Yeah.
And looked. Hey man, you know, because
Yeah.
it's like it's just cool. It is, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what your level of cool is, and you say, oh man, if it's red, it's cool, or if it's this color, it's cool. Man, your truck is just cool.
Well,
I mean,
thanks.
you know, it is, and people know that. So.
It's not the best truck out there, but when I went to Chris to build the truck,
Yeah.
I specifically told him I'm not looking to build the best truck. I'm looking to build a cool truck that I can have fun with, that I can drive to shows. That if it wins an award, cool. If it doesn't, cool. I just want to go have fun with my friends with my truck.
That's right. So let's build
That's what I
on
told
that.
him.
Let's build on that just a second, man.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, and I'm not trying to start a war with anybody out there, but you have all these built not bought. You have all these different things, you know. So when I look at it and I say we're going in a certain direction and stuff, I don't go to shows to win awards.
Yeah.
I don't.
Right.
And I think I see a lot of people out there who get angry. They're like, you know, I drove my truck and I did all this stuff, man, and I spent 2 days in the blistering sun and I didn't get an award. I wasn't recognized. And I'm like, this is my personal opinion.
Yeah.
You can tell me how you feel. If that's why you go, you're doing it for the wrong reason. That's my personal opinion.
So, I guess if you think about it or dissect it a little bit, you got three different deals here, right? Or if you think about it this way, and I'll try to unfold it real fast, is that there are some really high-level vehicles that if I owned one of those high-level vehicles, I would be going for the award, and I would make no bones about it. I would be competitive. Okay, and so because when you build a super high-end vehicle, then you're going to compete against, and you want to be a grade 8, you know, or you want to go and you want to be the Riddler, or does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
But you're talking $500, $600, $800 million cars.
Right.
Okay, so those guys being competitive and being nitpicky about the judging, I understand.
Right.
I get it.
Right.
And I respect that.
And I can respect that.
Does it make sense?
It makes perfect
Okay, so
sense.
there are situations where your high-end vehicles, they do need to get what they deserve with those efforts. And then you've got, you've got the generic car scene, which is what we probably live in, and we live in the generic car scene. And so when you live in that generic car scene, you've got you've got vehicles and that are done well, like you got well and like really well, and so those people kind of live together.
Right.
And then you got people that, whether knowledgeable about their vehicle or unknowledgeable about their vehicle, they just think that going and buying parts, like they're part replacers.
Right.
The part replacers, you know, and again, I love new vehicles, don't get me wrong, but, you know, you go buy a new vehicle and you start replacing parts, it's not the same.
Right.
As a custom or resto or modified or whatever. But then you can have, again, you know, different people have different budgets and everything, and I love them all. And, you know, I would never speak poorly of anybody, but you got some people that their budgets are low, but then they expect to win against, you know.
I know where you're going.
They expect to win against, they expect to win against no compromise.
Right.
You know, Mike Barsh's truck.
Right.
Well, you're not going to beat Mike Barsh's truck.
Well, and I think to a certain extent we have to be honest with us. We have to be honest with ourselves, and you
Yeah.
go to a show and say, I'm really proud of my truck.
Absolutely.
But it's not that.
Right.
Or I'm really proud of my truck, but it's not that.
And the thing about it is, Mike Barsh is my friend. You know, I've got, you know, a lot of friends that's got high-end builds and like super high-end, and I'm proud of them when they win those top awards. And I celebrate with them. And you know, you got Chris, you know, from down in Texas, and he owns MTI, and you know, he was just down at OBI and hung out with him for a little while, and you know, he's got a super nice truck and everything. I don't expect to ever I don't have any inclinations that I'm going to be Lucy. You know, Lucy's the name of this truck.
Right.
And I don't have any inclinations that I'm ever going to be Lucy. I don't have a desire to be Lucy. I love Lucy. I think Lucy's a beautiful truck. I love Chris. It's like, I know where my place is.
And see, I'm the same way, man. And, you know, I love my truck, dude. I drive my truck all the time. I take my truck to shows.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get a top award, awesome. If I don't get anything, I was there to hang out and have a good time.
Right.
You know, but I know that about me. My truck is not perfect. I have dents and dings and things that are wrong.
That's the reason it's going. That's the reason it's leaving tomorrow to go to Stafford's Garage for a month.
Right.
We got a few little paint corrections we're going to do to it, and some other little, you know, loose end things that we want to, you know, revisit and whatnot, and you know, I dropped that out of it. I knew I was going to do that.
Right.
I knew I was going to need, you know, updates along the way to keep it up.
That's exactly right, man. So, moving along just a tad though, I don't want you to get in any trouble, but what's your favorite show, and what's the reasoning behind that?
So my favorite show actually does not exist anymore.
I figured that was coming.
Yeah, it actually does not exist anymore. My favorite show it's actually where my Mazda was featured. It was called Cajun Mini Nationals.
Okay.
It was put on by Bubba and Rochelle Jones. Again, lifelong friends from Louisiana.
Right.
And it was held down in Jennings, Louisiana. And by far, we actually modeled. A lot of people, some people know this, some people don't. We loved their show so much that we took the stuff that we like super loved and we modeled Showfest after that one.
Oh, nice.
Bubba and Rochelle know that.
Right.
Yeah, we modeled Showfest after Cajun Mini Nats.
Nice. See, I believe that was a little before my time, like my era of getting in.
Mm-hmm.
I really got into the truck scene and doing that kind of stuff and building in 97, 98. So, you know.
Yeah. Man, what a fun time.
Oh, yeah.
Man, what a fun time. And we you know, of course, we had to come down 55 and then, you know, over through Baton Rouge and all that, man.
Right.
It felt like it took forever, man, because we were static drop. By the time we got there, man, we were just worn, slapped out. You know.
Oh yeah, I know, man. My first truck was an
Yeah.
'87 Blazer, and
Yeah.
man, I cut the springs and put blocks in it, and I mean, I used to drag everywhere, not on purpose. It's like I didn't have a choice.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I know I'm right there with you. Anywhere we go, especially in Mississippi, I mean, look at our transportation routes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're horrible.
Cajun Mini Nats, man. If I could rewind life, that would be a place I'd like to go back to. Cajun Mini Nats. Met a lot of friends there. Yeah.
That's awesome.
At that
man.
show.
Yeah. So how did the Showfest thing come about 100%? And you know, I know that it kind of went to its demise around 06, 05, somewhere around in there.
With the Greenville portion of it.
Yeah, and then it went to Tunica.
Yeah, then we went to Tunica in the early 2000s.
Right.
And so, cause I think we paused. I can't remember. Did we pause a year or 2 years? I can't remember. Honestly, I can't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we paused for a couple of years, and then we went to Tunica and ran Tunica, you know, through Samstown for a number of years, and then the very last one was at Snowden Grove in Olive Branch. Yeah, Snowden Grove.
Just a little bit south of there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we used to travel shows all the time, and we, you know, as clubs would be putting on shows, so we thought, you know, if we want to be a good club, we need to put on a show, you know.
Nice.
And you know, so it's like, well, all these other clubs are putting on their show, you know. It's like we need to put on our show.
Right.
And so We never caused any ruckus anywhere we went. We had club rules, like even if you disagreed with winning or not winning or whatever, you kept your mouth shut.
Right.
We never caused any ruckus.
Don't show your butt.
Nope.
That's
You would get kicked out.
respect. It goes back to that.
Yeah, you would get kicked out. And so we went to shows all over the Southeast, Texas, Louisiana, here in Mississippi a lot. I went to shows in Alabama. Went up to Tennessee, to the Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Right.
That was a big one up there.
Oh, yeah, man.
Back in the day. And wherever we went, whatever you got, that was it, done. Live with it. Let's move on. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
And that's where we lived. But anyway, so.
You get what you get, and you
Yeah,
don't throw
people,
a fit. That's
well,
what
people,
it is.
people liked us.
Right.
I mean, and we would go talk to them, and we'd spend hours just talking to them,
Right.
and everything, and people liked us. And I mean, Bubba and Rochelle, when we first went down there, they didn't know us from Adam, and we just we clicked and we hit it off and everything, and we were like, Rob, where's our hotel? And he goes, what do you mean? And I go, you were supposed to book the hotel this time. He goes, I thought you were booking the hotel. And I'm like, you didn't freaking book the hotel? And we started calling hotels. They were booked. We stayed with Bubba and Rochelle.
Oh, wow.
No crap.
Wow.
No crap. They
How many deep were y'all?
Huh?
How many deep were y'all?
On that particular occasion, I think there was only, so there would have been about 6 people.
Okay.
And so we made pallets on the floor and everything. It was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. But just
Right.
y'all come on. And then when Rob was out there cleaning and messing with his truck or whatever, he always had some catastrophe happening. And he was out there and all of a sudden we just saw this orange glow and he set this damn engine on fire. And so we were out there he's gonna burn the guy's house down to let us stay with us under the carport. And we were like,
some people are just accident prone, man. They just are, You always have that.
oh my God. So just stuff like that, man, you'll just remember the rest of your life,
Right.
And so anyway, Showfest was the first year because people liked us. Bubba and Rochelle, we got their mailing list.
Yeah. Stamp.
Yeah.
Licking the back.
Yeah.
Sticking it.
Yeah, all it.
The whole nine.
Yeah, mailing list. And so we sent out the mailing list, and there was no social media, and you phone called people.
Right.
You picked up the phone, called people you knew. You had their phone number, right?
Right.
So you had the phone number, and
it was probably in a pad. It wasn't saved
Yeah.
in your contact list.
well, yeah, you had to put it down. You had to write it down somewhere because you called them from home.
Right.
Yeah, you had to call
On a landline.
Yeah, you had to call them home and hey man, this is Joe from Greenville and Assorted. You got hey man. It was like you called each other.
That's right.
You called each other.
That's right.
And so when you were at shows, if you wanted to get back in contact with those peeps, you better write the phone number down.
Yeah, man. Back a business card or
Yeah.
another piece of mail that you had laying on the
Yeah,
desk.
and so anyway,
I remember those.
and so our first show was out of the gate was close to 400 vehicles.
Wow.
First show out of the gate.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we were blown up, and we did everything. We sold the food, we made the food, we did the tickets, we took the money at the gate.
Wow.
For the spectators, we were worn out.
Oh yeah.
We were the judging, we were everything.
Wow.
And there was only 9 of us.
9 total.
We did everything.
Wow. That's crazy.
It is
Like
crazy.
I know how hard it is to put on the show. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
We did everything.
Yeah, that's nuts.
And so we were like, well, we got to recalibrate that one a little bit and start asking for help and whatnot. And then, and so we had dinner on Friday night. We had a parade. They loved the parade. The mayor shut the whole downtown down
Right.
and let us do the parade and all the way back out onto Highway 82. And then we got to the point where people were doing the hotel was lined up in Greenville. All the hotels were on Highway 82. And so then we went to the mayor and asked, would it be cool if he would let us get away with, straight dragging and scraping? And he goes, yeah, that's fine. He said, well, show me what you're talking about. You can't be tearing up the roads. And he's like, and so he went over there and looked at it. He goes, yeah, that's fine. He said, well, I'll talk to the police chief. I'll talk to him. That ain't hurt.
Wasn't it a Kmart? There was a Kmart on.
Oh, there was a
main
Kmart
drag.
there. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that's where we used to meet up
Yeah.
when we went. We would
yeah.
meet up in that
Yeah.
parking lot.
Yeah. So
Isn't that where the main stage was for a? It was a couple of years.
Oh, we didn't have a main stage on.
No, I mean
on,
like they
on
had like it was a 18-wheeler trailer, and they had like some speakers and stuff set up there.
We didn't. That was somebody. That was just somebody. We don't know.
Well, man, we used to park right there and watch everybody go up.
That
and
wasn't
down.
us. That was probably Bill Carlton or somebody from Extensive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
Man, it was huge. Though. It was just a party.
So Extensive used to come over all the time with Bill. Richard Rollins and them, Gas Monkey used to come to our show all the time.
Right.
There was another group that came out of. I mean, we had people that came from all over the nation. There was actually coverage, like magazine coverage. They started in California and came all the way across and picked up people all the way across, and they magazine covered photos it. And
wow.
that was a feature within itself was the
road to Greenville.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember that, man.
Yeah, that was that was part of the magazine coverage. We dominated the magazine coverage, dominated it, and so then that grew, and then we paid for Mike Shardis to come, and we and then of course we had Tito, and we had all those guys. Some of them are not with us anymore.
Yeah. Tito especially.
Yeah.
Man, big shout out.
Yeah, and so but they were great, and so we got them there, and so we had magazine coverage from the very first show because we met Mike again, back to relationships.
Right.
We met Mike in Jennings, Louisiana at Cajun Mini Nationals. That's where our trucks got featured, and and then we liked Mike, and Mike liked us, and Mike's still a friend to this day.
Yeah.
All these years later.
Well, that's awesome.
Mike Shardis. Steve, all the big guys that used to be the editors and producers of mini trucking and street trucks and all of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome, man. So you have more of a legacy. When I look at things like that, man, it's more of a legacy with you, man. And to me, that's awesome because there's a quote that says even a brick wants to be something, and I look at that, and that's what I like. I want to build things, and I want to make the scene just amazing, because we all have to be honest with ourselves, man. For a long time it fell off. I mean, it did. It kind of
there was probably a little dip in there when the mini truck scene started coming to it plateaued, peaked, or whatever, then it started coming down and whatnot, and so it did.
Where do you think we are back on the build side coming up? We're not quite there yet.
Honestly, man, I think we're getting youth back into it again. I think it's going to be good. But you got us old guys who have a little money now. and then so we got the old guys, and then I don't know. There's some young guys out there too that are killing the scene too.
Oh, I know, man.
Not to be arrogant or anything, but Greenville set the stage for more than just a show, though. Greenville set the stage for that's where it became known to debut your truck.
Right.
That's where Greenville was Greenville was the show to debut your truck if you wanted it featured.
Nice.
If you wanted your truck featured, you debuted it at Showfest.
Right.
Because that's where all the media coverage was going to be.
Right.
Because eventually there was media coverage that started showing up that we didn't
solicit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had to come to get their stuff.
That's right.
Or else they were going to be left behind.
Yeah.
At Showfest.
Well, they knew everybody else was going to be there.
That's right.
So that's the OBIs.
So like Bill, it's extensive, and he built his own empire, and which is cool, and got his own show now. And Richard Rollins, same thing and everything. But they came to shows like Showfest. They went to other big shows too. They went to Heatwave. They went to them scraping the coast. Went scraping the coast, and
right.
So they went to other big shows. But Showfest is where that was the big one, and so they showcased their new fabrication stuff. They brought their
they brought vehicles of their own that they had made those fabrication changes to.
Right.
And that's where they then, you know, started being able to build frames. So I feel like I'm a part of their success, you know.
And that's great.
Yeah, I mean,
It's awesome.
I mean, because that's where they had to stomp to get where they are today.
That's right.
And you know, same thing like Richard Rollins and some of the other ones and everything. But it was fun, and it still is. It still is.
Right.
And you know, I don't like drama. You know, I try to, you know, steer away from all that as much as I can, and you know, I try to, you know, I'm more of a peacemaker when it comes to stuff and everything. So
I know.
yeah, so I don't mess with it. It's like I don't mess with it. Don't talk about it. Don't, you know. There's people that don't like others in the scene, and that's fine. You know, whatever. You know, whatever's in between them on that is, you know, that's between them and everything. And I don't let anybody or anything persuade me on, you know, where I go or who I go with or
Right.
not. So
Yeah, I'm extremely impartial.
yeah.
You know, I mean, I try not to show favoritism or anything. The way Heather and I do things is, if we have it in our budget to go to a show and it falls when we're able to go, we go.
Mm-hmm.
If it falls to where it's not in our budget, or if, you know, we have something else going on that weekend, we just can't make it. I mean, and people have to understand that, dude.
Well, y'all got small kids, so that's gonna happen.
Right. That's right.
Especially when you're taking them to like t-ball games or baseball games or soccer fields or
Yeah,
you know, whatever
or
else.
anything,
Or
you know,
yeah.
but, you know, birthday parties,
Yeah,
I mean, everything.
Yeah.
It's just life, man. It's
Mhm.
what happens while we're busy making plans.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We live in the dash.
Mhm.
You have two dates on your headstone. It's your birthday and the day that you're not here anymore.
Mhm.
And it's what happens in between that matters.
Mhm.
So that's where I live my life, man. That's where I am.
Yeah.
man.
Sometimes you can take the kids to the shows, and sometimes the party's back here at the house.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And you know, we, just like you, I mean, we're here, my kids are inside, you know, Heather's inside making supper, and, you know, we're out here talking truck stuff and everything. I mean, what I'm saying is it can happen anywhere. You can make time for it, you know,
Yeah.
and that's one of the joys and the beauties of this is what it's about.
That's
you
right.
know, when I started this show, man, you know, I had talked to you about it a bunch of times, you know.
Yeah.
And I bounced some ideas and stuff off of you, and I want this to be the real, you know, where we talk about the real, and we talk about all the things, and it matters what you do for a living and where you grew up and all that kind of stuff, because that's influential. It influences you and your taste and what you like and everything else. I mean, you know, and let's be honest, if you grew up in Southern California, you might like the lowriders with the flashy paint and the crazy hydraulics and, you know, the dancing beds and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, a C10 is more of a southern thing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where we're from. But then you go to a show, and what does the show do? You have people from this place and people from this place and people from that era and people from this time, and they're all together in one spot, and you get to learn, you get to see all of these different things. And that's one of the things that spawned and precursored me doing in the garage, was my love for cars, and, you know, I love people in general.
Right.
And, you know, I want to do this, and I want to have people on the show who have battled things, man, and who came up from nothing, and who built themselves and their cars. And,
I did. I came up from nothing, and I had to, like, my mom didn't help me build that truck. That is for sure.
That's right, man. It's like, you know,
my original truck.
Yeah.
And then I was out of it for a while. You know, like sold my truck, you know, to buy a house and, you know, get the kid, you know, going along. And,
right.
I'm not going to tell you I was happy about it, but I did what I had to do.
Well, things take precedence. You know, it's like, I told Heather when we bought the blue truck, I told her, there will never come a time where you have to guess what is more important. If one of my kids was sick and we had to sell that truck, I wouldn't even think about it. It'd be gone.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, because my wife and my kids are my life, man. Trucks and that kind of stuff.
Oh, you can always buy another truck.
But they're a part of it. They are not. They are a thing. They are not the thing.
That's right.
You know, my wife and kids are the thing.
Yeah, it sucked being out of it. I'm not gonna lie about that. But
never think for a second that I wasn't always looking in.
Right. Yeah. Well,
You know?
priorities. You know,
Yeah.
it's life. It happens.
I kept up. I kept, getting magazines. I kept wishing and dreaming, and
Right.
the dreams never ended. And so you see a cool vehicle going down the road, or you run across I would be out traveling. We'd run across a car show. I'm like, oh, we're going in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
And you get a spectator band. You hang out for a couple hours, and then
I swear to goodness, we were rolling through Alabama. We were not going to a show. We were just in a personal vehicle. I'm trying to remember where we were going, and we were rolling through Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and saw a show off the interstate, and I went, and I'm like, it's time to eat anyway.
That's right.
There was like restaurants nearby where they were having a show.
That's right.
And I said, I'm gonna run in here for a few minutes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we've done that before. We've
Yeah.
been on the coast or different places,
Yeah.
and we're like, hey, we're gonna go out to lunch, and I heard there's a car show over here, a little hangout or a get together. We're actually going down to a little show in the morning down in Purvis.
Yeah.
They're having a little car show to benefit their baseball team and stuff. So
That's
I'm
cool.
like, man, yeah, I mean, 2-hour drive, go hang out with some people. I lived there for a little while
Right.
when I was in college, so I was like, heck yeah, man, and to put some money into that economy, because what we do, it's like, yeah, I'll go hang out for 3 or 4 hours and just chill and eat some crawfish or something,
Heck
and
yeah.
come back home. I mean,
Heck yeah.
that's what it's all about, man.
It is. It is.
That's what it's all about.
That's it.
Well, man, I'm going to tell you, Joe, that I admire you as a person and as somebody who's in the scene and stuff. I enjoy, your personality and, just being able to sit and talk with you and stuff, man. And you always make time. I'll shoot you a text and ask you something. You're like, yeah. I mean, even if you're busy, you get back to me.
Oh
You know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely.
So I appreciate that, and I know there are other people out there who appreciate it, and your genuine enthusiasm for the truck scene, the car scene, what's going on here locally and abroad, and
Right.
it's awesome, man.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. It's just built in, it's just built in my DNA, man. It's like,
Right.
I know we were supposed to be like a 30-minute window, but I can talk about it all night.
man,
all night.
And look, and you know what's crazy? Some people out there are like, man, if a podcast or something goes over about 20, 25 minutes, people are going to be listening to this till we hit the end button. They are, man, because, it's real and people know it's raw, it's unedited, it's not filtered, we're not pushing an agenda, we're just two guys sitting here having a beer talking about cars.
That's right.
And, so many other times it's, at the end of it, buy my this or do this, or whatever, and it's like, that's not the purpose of
Right.
this, And, man, I appreciate you coming on. I always got to remember it's the fist bump.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So, I appreciate it, Joe.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for your time.
All right, buddy.
All right.